Okay, we would like to explore the HSL tab, an in-depth look, and go over some of my usual adjustments. So that's going to be this tab right here, the fourth tab back, HSL/Grayscale. We're going to start off by looking at some of the adjustments you may want to make here. Yeah, you can come up here and grab the targeted adjustment tool, click on it, and then find a particular tone that you want to adjust, sliding it around in this fashion. That works for some people. I'm not really fond of it. Hey, incidentally, something we haven't talked about, on your keyboard, again, if you'll notice over here, I just made a bunch of changes. And a quick way to reset, to undo the last thing that you used to do, that you most recently did, would be to hold the control key down and then type the letter Z, and it'll undo whatever it is you've just done. So that's a real handy thing. You'll see me using it a lot, and we'll run into that a lot. But on this HSL tab, the hue, if you're looking at something, and often for me, the colors that don't quite reproduce well, or at least in a Velvia way, are going to be the greens. This image here, we'll exaggerate it so we can show it. Often they're a little bit too yellow or too muddy looking, and I want them to have a lot more cyan in them. So I might take my greens and run it over, and we discover, hey, there are a fair amount of greens in here. We're going to exaggerate this so you're sure to see it. And then my yellows have a lot of green in them as well. I might run my yellows to the right. Now this is obviously a little too much. In reality, my settings with my camera might be sliding my yellows to the +15 side and my greens maybe to the +5, or sometimes maybe +15 on the greens and 5 on the yellows. Let's just toggle that on and off. It's slightly noticeable here in my view. You may see it turning just a little bit. This is camera specific. Depending upon your camera, you may not make this adjustment, but for me, this is an adjustment I'm often making in the HSL tab. Alright, you can obviously choose any of these colors and run them around however you'd like. Not a problem, just be careful. These adjustments can do a lot of damage real fast. Alright, so the next tab back is saturation. Now while I do my global saturation in Photoshop, I will saturate or desaturate colors individually here. I don't usually. It's not been my workflow to use the target adjustment tool. You could, and that may work just fine for you. In my established workflow, I normally just click on the sliders and move them. Often, as a result of turning my greens to the right a little bit here, they pick up a little bit too much color and saturation, so I will now desaturate those greens. I've actually picked up the same tone, but now by desaturating them, they look a little more realistic. Again, if you want to do this set of tabs, the HSL set of tabs, it's all about you as the individual running through and making changes you may or may not like. Kind of like this in the tree here. Maybe I'll give myself 25 points of saturation on the red. Oh, I like that. A little punchier that way. Maybe we'll go 20 here. Just arbitrary throwing numbers out here. If we're going to do this for real, we're going to study this in a pretty sincere way. Now the blue, I don't really like the blue look reflecting from the sky, I assume, on the cabin top, so I might actually desaturate that a bit, just to kind of take it off in the right direction. What are the purples doing for us? Well, I might even take the purples back a little bit, make that cabin look a little more like wood and a little less like a spaceship. And we're not seeing any effect anywhere in the image here for the magenta. So far on this tab, and again, the preview checkbox will actually preview everything we're doing on the HSL subtabs. It's not each individual tab, so it's kind of convenient. Yeah, so we're making some minor changes. Again, if we're having to drive it really far, then maybe we need to reshoot the image. Luminance, sometimes this is a great way to make an image pop out a little bit more, sections of an image. Since we saturated some of the reds and the oranges a little bit, I might give them just a little bit more luminance to make them pop. And again, with the greens, I will probably do the same, give the greens and the yellows just a little bit to kind of offset what we did with them in the hue adjustment. These things we're talking about here you will learn over time as you play with it on your own. So this is a look at the HSL tab. We can toggle on and off to see if we like what we did here. I actually kind of like that. So learn your camera and make the adjustments that you like on an image by image basis. This is not something that you can just say these are the defaults I always want to have happen. You're going to have to make this on a case by case, image by image basis. If for some reason you've done a lot of work on an image and you've just discovered, you know what, I need to scratch all of the raw adjustments that I've made, all of the tabs have an ability to come into here, this little area right up here. Okay, click on it. This drop down box pops up and you can just simply go to Camera Raw defaults and it'll wipe everything off. Or if you didn't mean to do that, you can go to previous conversion and you'll restore the previous settings. Okay, that's a real good look at the HSL tab, and we'll be back here in just a minute to talk about grayscale conversion or black and white conversion.